we left Tarkos, which immediately vanished. We were going to Harper, I think was the next place we were going to. We traveled a day or so. It got very cold, and Breaker switched over into his winter season involuntarily. Primo was sneaking around, but was followed, and Scuttlebutt watched as his hat flew away into the night.
It turns out that was his familiar.
Right. It turns out he has a contact in Harper on Yellow Island named Nexa. And he then disembarked to go on a fishing boat. I don't think we found out where he was headed specifically, but he left the ship we were on. In Harper, Breaker went to perform in, I forget the name of the tavern, the Eel and something. We found out that there was a sentient, potentially penis-shaped tower that doubled as a brothel. I guess before that we
it's singled as a brothel.
Yeah. we met Nexa before we went to the tavern. Actually, she originally had the form of a dwarf, but she later turned into an elf dracone hybrid with a flaming arrow tattoo on her face. She told us where the pirate Keith is in Nathville. Although there may be more than one Nathville, so I don't know if we actually know where he is.
Also, I think, Kurt, you didn't transform just yet at this point.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I transform later on.
Would our characters understand that that's something that your race does, or?
I mean, I assume you being an elf would know.
Okay. Scuttlebutt would have no fucking clue. He'd be mystified by this whole thing.
I mean, because me as a person, I have no idea what's going on. Is this like
Eladrin have 4 seasons, and they can change essentially every day if they want to between the 4 seasons.
So you choose to do it?
Yes. Well, mechanically, yes, I choose to do it. In games, sometimes it just happens.
Okay. I assumed it was something related to the cold.
Yeah, that's sort of. I just decided on a subconscious level when it got cold, and with the old lady's curse around, he would switch over to his winter season. Nexa, as it turns out, was some sort of crazed, insane terrorist, but Breaker decided to let that go. Figure more pitying her mental illness than feeling aggressive towards her. That's when, after we learned where Keith was, we went to the tavern, the name of which I forget. And in came someone who I think was human named Luden with several guards. Luden was the harbor master and beelined over to us and to Captain Bosun, who we were sitting with, and began asking questions. This is when he first got there, Breaker was performing and so was off mingling amongst people in the crowd. But eventually, after everyone refused to answer Luden's questions, Breaker came back over and immediately answered Luden's question because he seemed trustworthy, which caused Captain Bosun to faceplant into the table. Luden's men then surrounded the ship to try to take the fuselage off of it, and we then intervened. Shenanigans followed, and Luden wound up in the water, and we managed to get the fuselage back onto the ship with an illusion of the fuselage sitting on the dock itself. And that's when
we convinced that whole dock area that there was some sort of outbreak of a disease as well.
Right, that's right.
It was the fish.
I forget. Where did we meet Captain Burnmote?
At the next town.
Okay. Right. So we headed to Daleville that was locked in the ice because of the old lady's curse. In Daleville, we began to, and that's where we met Captain Burnmote. We then started looking for what the origin of the old lady's curse was and came to a frozen over statue of Sully Malloy, or Mully Saloy, or Sully Mallow. We don't really know his official name. Probably lost to history. What else happened there?
Scuttlebutt was confused for a pile of laundry.
That's true.
Did we learn something about the pirate there? About the guy we were going to meet? That he's only there for 2 weeks? No, we learned that in Harper.
I mean, we did. We learned that we could find out more about the curse by going to some
right.
school of
There was
magic.
a restaurant called My Boy Blue in Norman, or in Brookshire, we could go to the School of Magic or the Monk Third Eye of Wisdom.
Right. And then we got back on to Booson's ship and headed off for Brookshire.
Oh, we also learned that the guy who tried to break the curse, that's where he failed and turned into a butterfly, right?
Right.
Many butterflies, I think, right? Or
now he turned into one butterfly technically, and then all the butterflies we saw were his descendants.
He was very successful fitness-wise.
He was the Mac Daddy of butterflies.
Maybe because he was a person turned into a butterfly, he had a ridiculously long lifespan as a butterfly, since they only normally last a few days.
You're about to say a ridiculously long dong.
I mean, probably that too. Maybe not all of them turned completely into butterfly.
The butterfly wings and a giant penis.
Oh boy.
You know we're gonna fight that at some point, right?
One can only hope.
Let me get my notebook. Hey, what else? Does Yolanda do anything else? His prophets, and he's a prophet, and he washes and dries himself. Does he do anything else?
I look over at the...
What is this talking right now? I hear words coming from this person's mouth, but their order perplexes me.
Don't get too harsh with me, Laundry.
I fear the alcohol in his system has just covered up the fact that he's been kicked in the head one too many times by a mule.
I nearly did a spit take.
Hopefully the bartender is there by now.